Hi, in this video I'd like to show you some uses for the loops, what we can do with it, and some of the things that makes our life a bit easier if we want to achieve certain things. Now I'm being pretty vague because you basically got to know, okay, if I want to repeat myself, I need to use it in this way. So I have to choose something. I haven't quite chosen something in my mind right now. But let's say we wanted to, in our form here, we wanted to produce a bunch of buttons along, and we don't want to produce it by hand, and we want to use the for loop to produce it. So what I'll do in this lesson is I'll actually show you how we create buttons in program instead of dragging and dropping it, and then also generate maybe a few buttons to the side here. So I'll delete, I don't need to delete that. And because I know how many buttons I want to do, I'm going to use the for loop because it's a bit simpler, because I know my start and stop values. So I won't use the while loop this time. Okay, so before I use the loops, I need to figure out what I'm trying to do. So what I want to do is I want to create some buttons. So let's create an array of buttons. So I've created an array of buttons. I've allocated 6 buttons. Maybe I'll do 4 buttons. Next, what I want to do is I want to generate the buttons, but I won't use a for loop yet. I'll first figure out roughly what my pattern is. So button 0, I want to establish it as a new button. I want to position it. Button 0's location, new point. I want to position it at 0, 50. Let's see where that. And then finally, I want to go me.controls.add. I want to add that button 0. So there are the 3 lines of code to generate a button. You create the button in the array. You tell it which location you want it, and then you just add it to the form. Let's see if that works. And there's your button. That's the button. I don't like the size. I'm going to make the size button 0. Size. What's a good size? 50 by 50. Okay. There you go. That's my button there. I might just delete this. Don't need it. All right. Now I'm going to generate my next button. Oops. Alright, so this one's my next button. And you notice the amount of work I have to do to generate these buttons. Yeah, it's at location 1 now. This one was, since the button's 50, I'll put it at 60. No, I can put it right next to the button. So 50, position 50, 50. So I'm moving across by 50. I keep forgetting the S, and it keeps auto changing it for me. Annoying. 50, me, controls, add button, buttons 1. Let's have a look. The second button should be right next to it. There's the second button. And you see the amount of work required. Now that's why we use for loops or while loops. So instead of writing all of that so many times and copy and pasting, changing these numbers, let's have a look at what's changing first. You notice the index in your array is changing, 0 and then 1. So in this location, I'm going to use my index in the for loop. And also you notice that this 50, this 0 changes to 50, and then it's going to change to 100. So you need to take note of the things that are changing. I'm just going to use I equals 0 to, how many buttons am I making? 4. 0 to 4, because I want to go to 4, right? Next, I. So what I'll do is I'll grab this code, paste it in there, now, and then I won't delete it yet. Now this thing changes from 0 to 4. So this number, this thing is changing 0 to 4. So I can just put I in here because this thing is changing in the loop. So it will start at 1 and it will do it 4 times, it'll get the 4. If I do that, and I turn these things off, you notice that I have a button at 50-50, location 50-50, and you can only see one button because they're all at the same spot. All 4 of these buttons are at the same spot, you can't tell. So notice that this location here, the point is changing from 0 to 50 to 100. So this thing is going up by 50, or rather, it's going up by 50. So what I need to do is I need to start this at 0. I need to start at 0, and I need to go 50 times I, because I is changing from 0 to 4. So if this is 0, the whole location is 0, which is that one. If this goes to 1, 1 times 50 is 50, which is that one. If this is 2, 2 times 50 is 100, which is the next one. So in some ways, to be able to use loops, have an understanding of linear functions is useful. And there you go. All right, now let's say we wanted to make a whole grid of buttons, and I'm not going to start at 50. I'm going to start at the corner. Whoops. I mean, put that as 0. I want to shift it all up, so it's all at the top, and I might just go to 6, and I'm going to, instead of using 4, I'll use buttons.count minus 1. So instead, what this will do is it will go to the end. However much I got here, I don't have to keep changing that number. Minus 1 because you know, it starts from 0 and it goes to 5 if there's 6 locations. This will give me the 6, and you know, this will give me the 7 actually, because there's 7 here. Let's just check. Oh, nearly at the end. That's fine. I won't need to go to the end. All right, so let's say we wanted to also go downward. So if I wanted to generate buttons going downward, it's the same code here, except instead of the I times 50 is on the X, it's on the Y, because I want to change the location of the Y, and the X can stay at 0, which is on the left. And there you go. Now, what if I wanted to do the whole thing? I'd have to combine this with this. So this thing, so this one, I'm going to change that to J, because I'm going to use these together and they can't be the same variable. Right, I'm going to change that to J. And what I'll do is, I've got to combine this with this. So this handle is going down, this handle is going across. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste that here. And lastly, I can delete all of this because I only need one set of code to add the button. And I will put all of this inside this loop. So pretty much I have a loop within a loop. So first it loops to the side, generating a column. Then it goes to the next side, next column, and generates a whole column. Then it goes to the next column and generates a whole column. There you go. So what it actually does is it starts in this location, I equals 0, and then it will generate bob, 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 bob. And then it will go to this column because I is now 2, and then 2 times 50 is 100. 1 times 50 is 50, and then go bob, 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 bob. I can even do a pause just to show you exactly what's happening. I'll pause it after I do a row. I'll do a column. I'll do a message box. Just whatever, just to show you. Oh yeah, that's right. It won't work because form mode doesn't work like that. You can't kind of stop and look at what's happening in form mode. But anyway, this is called a nested for loop. You can nest while loops. You can nest meaning a for loop within a for loop or a while loop within. You're nesting something inside something else. So that's another way we could use the loops. But so ultimately, if you know what numbers are changing, if this is changing for a certain pattern linearly, or this is changing at a certain pattern, you use a for loop to get an index that changes in the way you want it to change, and then you just replace it in the locations that need to change. Anyway, thank you for listening.